there, welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the bench today we have a Marantz 6110 belt drive. This is a auto return, so a semi-automatic turntable. And if you're new to the channel, what we do here is we're trying to document as many turntable servicings as possible for each model, make and model actually. So basically, if I've never done a Marantz 6110 before, I will put it on video. That way, if someone needs to service, or if they just purchased a 6110, they can hopefully search it up on Google or within YouTube, and up pops a video. It'll show you how to service this turntable. Now, along the way, there might be a repair for each turntable. Sometimes that's not the case, but sometimes, as in if you do check out that video on that Akai 207, after the servicing was done, we found a problem with it. So some things can pop up occasionally, but most of the time it's relatively simple. We're just going to service them, get them running good, and get them out the door for the customer. Just a side note here, I was checking out the YouTube channel the other day, and looks like the channel's hit 5,000 subscribers, so that's worthy of celebration. Thank you very much for subscribing if you have. If you haven't, by all means, consider doing so. Anyway, on to the Marantz. So, like I said, this classic Marantz turntable here. One thing you should know about Marantz is they did not manufacture their own turntables. They subletted it out to a Japanese company, like many companies did at the time, a company called CEC, Denki, and that's what we have here. So you'll see this turntable, the basic design of it, probably in a multitude of tables. Yamaha, Realistic, Hitachi. They'll all be extremely similar. The only differences being, branding and perhaps some of the features and design elements that each of the manufacturers had. But the guts are CEC. So, you might have a Yamaha YP something or another, D4 comes to mind, B4 perhaps. A Realistic Lab 420, 400, something like that. It might be identical to this turntable. Yeah, it'll look a little different on the outside, but they are the same within. Although the specifications might be slightly different. Marantz may have ordered a heavier duty motor because they sold this turntable at a more of a premium price than, say, Radio Shack did with the Realistic models. So anyway, we are going to give this thing a service. This is a flipper table. The gentleman who brought it in says he's going to give it to his neighbor's son or something like that. He said just get it running. So that's what we're going to do. But to do that, we do this basic service elements such as lubrication. We're going to check the belt. We're going to clean where the belt rides, and we're going to service the motor. Okay. So here we are. Let's do a quick evaluation on this turntable. Make sure everything's working fine. Our queuing here. Okay, the motor is spinning, which is always a good sign. Oh, it's just auto returning. The motor's a little bit loud. This will have an AC motor on it, so there'll be no speed or pitch controls on this. The speed is constant. And you can have speed issues if you have the wrong size belt on these tables. So that's all working. Let's, okay, there's an issue right there. So we've got a very fast dropping arm. That's no bueno because it can damage your records and or the stylus if it's slamming down on the record hard. So let's just see if our auto return is working. Well, we saw it work, but let's just make sure it's lifting and returning. Yeah, that looks good and smooth. And we're just going to check for sound. We have sound in both channels. So overall, I'd say the health of this table is pretty decent. Let's begin. All right, so we're going to want to remove our sticky platter mat. What the heck is this stuff? Looks like someone may have at some point put some tape over this thing, because that looks like the remnants of tape. Okay, then we're going to want to release our belt, which is over here. And we'll give our belt's a little loose. So we have a little bit of a loose belt. We're going to see how it holds speed. We're going to give it a cleaning. It's an okay shape. Still elastic. Oh, and we have some belt depth. Right here, if you can see this, it's been removed. At least most of it has. Let's just see here. Yeah, it pretty much has been removed. What happens is these turntables probably, you know, during the CD era, I like to say, everybody put their turntables away. Well, not everybody, I didn't, but a lot of people did. And what happens is the belts were left on the platter, and then eventually they started to dry rot, and then they collapsed, and then they died somewhere in the turntable, and it is the stickiest, gooeyest mess you'll ever see when you find that. Okay. Our main spindle feels like it has absolutely no lubrication left. Our motor looks filthy, but the bearing in the motor feels okay, but it's still going to get a service. So we got a few things to take care of here. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove our head shell. And what do we got on here? It looks like a Shure cartridge. Yeah, Shure M75 with definitely an aftermarket stylus on there. That is an M44 stylus, I think. I might be wrong, but it looks like an M44 stylus. A lot of the Shure cartridges had interchangeable styli. Remove our counterweight. We shall disconnect our audio and power cables. We're going to bang our head against the camera. And then we'll put our very cloudy dust cover back on. And flip over the turntable. Oh, I just saw something. There is, which is pretty rare to find actually in turntables of this age, when you actually find the anti-skating weight and spring. Yeah, I think they look cool, but these things are a nightmare because they always go missing. All right, now we can turn it over. Okay, so quite a few screws, so let me pause and I'll be right back. Okay, screws are out. Just noticing something here. The front feet and the back feet are different. Now, I don't know if that's by design or if someone's been in here before and or this thing had failed feet. I really don't know, but just by the look of it, I'm going to say the front feet are definitely taller than the back feet. So I don't know if these rotted or got lost or whatever, but just something to note. Wow, this thing is bare. There is almost nothing in here. Very simple. Incredibly simple. It's going to be great and really easy to change this cueing arm fluid. That's great. There's our speed mechanism. Oh, this is probably the barest CEC turntable I've ever seen. Motor mounts look good, which is great. So what should we do first? We have three things to do under here. We have to do our motor, we have to do our spindle, and we have to do our cueing. What do I want to do first here? Let's do cueing. Cueing's always fun. What's that? All right, so just want to have a look here and see what we're dealing with. That's a lot of grease on there. What does this thing do? A little Oh, I see. So as the auto return goes, this comes, pushes down on here, which in turn pushes down on our, actually, technically it's pushing up on our queuing to lift it. So to get that out, I'm definitely going to have to pull from the top. I'm going to have to remove some stuff here, starting with this arm here, and then this arm here. Actually, let's take this one out first. So a couple E-clips, which are in horrible spots. Don't lose these. Whatever you do, don't lose them. The problem is they have a bad habit of flying away, especially when they're mounted sideways like this. I gotta tell you, one thing I hate is E-clips. There we go. Number 2. You see that okay? I'm just working right there. Yeah, it should be okay there. So I'm going to guess that this comes out. It does. I could probably only need to remove one, you know, because I could have slid that out. And then we remove this mechanism. And it is loaded with grease. I'm not touching that. It's already all over my fingers. So we'll just put that aside. Okay, so we've got that removed. Now we're going to remove this arm. Are we going to have to remove it? Yeah, I think somebody's been in here, right? This is a sloppy mess. Excuse me for a moment. Good heavens. Come on, people. You just need a little bit. Okay, so this one here. Okay, I have to make sure that you can see this right here. Nope, see, you can't see that. There, right here. I like to turn the E-clips upside down, so when I'm removing them, they shoot downwards and not up. There we go. And let's remove this arm. If anything, there should be a little bit of grease there. And now we have full access to this puppy right here. And again, another E-clip. Oops. This one's big though. And a spring. So hang on tight because that spring's going to want to come up. So just put that one aside. Grab your spring. Okay. This is messy work, just so you know, because this will have silicone grease on it. And now what you can do is release your Tonearm, and you should be able to pull it out from the top. And here we are. That is your queuing piston. And if you can see right here, there are 2 little slots. There and there. And that's where we need to apply our fresh silicone grease. Let's give that away. Okay. It's really simple. All right, so I'm using 300 CST silicone damping fluid. Okay, real easy to apply. Just grab this and fill those two crevices up. Just like that. Just put it around there. It does not have to be clean because it's going to go everywhere anyway. So I'll just fill those two cavities up like that. Once you put it back into the cylinder, it'll spread around. There, that's it. Now, you're going to reach back up, move your arm out of the way. You're going to reinsert the piston. Okay, right there. You're going to put the spring back. Should stay. Gravity might want to pull it down, but you should be okay enough just to get this E-clip back on there. You got to push the spring down, which sometimes pushes the piston down. Just get that E-clip around the notch. Sometimes they're a lot smaller than this. This one's really nice and big and easy to work on. So they're not always an easy job like this one. There. Done. Look how much slower that's coming up now. Super nice. And the more you use it, the more that silicone grease will work its way around. Very nice. Perfect. All right, now we can replace these arms. And like I mentioned, I'm going to put a little bit of grease here. Actually, you could probably use this crap that's everywhere. It's actually pretty pliable. A little bit right there. You probably can't even see that, right? Of course not. Right here. I'm just going to lube that up, put this arm back on. There we go. Perfect. And then we'll put the E-clip back on for this. It's hard to work sideways. Excuse my arm. There we go. That's back on. And then I'm going to actually put one of the E-clips back on here. That way I don't have to do it when it's on the turntable. It'll be a lot easier for me. Doesn't matter which one. These are hard enough to do outside the table, let alone do it inside. There. Okay, so now we're going to put this back. And I believe it went like that. This goes under like that. And we'll go in this way so I have more room to work. Like that. And we'll put our last E-clip on. All right. Good. Perfect. Okay. motor time. Let me zoom out just a bit here. Motor, more Eclipse. Why is this stuck? What's going on here? Is this thing screwed in from the top? What's going on? It is screwed in from the top. Why would it be on motor mounts if it's screwed? Oh my God, is the have the transportation screws never been removed on this thing? Oh, holy crap. Okay. No wonder this motor was loud. The transportation screws are screwed in. Now, before using, please take off this screw. I bet you this thing's been playing like this its whole life. That is absolutely hilarious. The whole idea of the mounts is for the motor to drop down and to ride on rubber. Oh, look at this. What a joke. Oh my God. That is so funny. The stuff I see. Get this Tonearm back. And I seriously doubt that the owner or whoever brought me this table put those screws in for transportation. I will guarantee you that those screws have been sitting in that turntable, tightened, to keep the motor from dropping down for the last 50. Of course I have, because look, you can just see that they've been sitting tight, excuse me, against the plinth. Wow. The motor should be totally silent on an AC deck. Okay. All right, so I like to mark my motors like that, so I know where they go. I like to put them back where they were. That's just a mounting plate. Ooh, dirty, dirty, dirty. Okay, we have a lot of belt death around here. So we're going to clean that off with some alcohol and a Q-tip. Could be dirt and dust as well. I just want to show you this. Before using, please take off this screw. I don't know if you can read that or not. But they were not removed. Yuck. Okay, so now we need to remove these nuts. Now, I believe they're 5.5 millimeter. You can use a 9/32. And you know what? Let's remove the pulley as well, so we can get good access into that bearing. Now, that is painted on, so you have to be very careful not to strip this screw. You need a very fine screwdriver. Hopefully I have one fine enough. Okay, good news. I was able to loosen it. It's very soft metal. It doesn't even want to come off. All right. Let's try a little trick here. Try not to burn ourselves, but we shall use. I'll show you a little trick here. Our old friend called heat. Now you can use you get a heat gun or something like that. I've had some suggestions to use a soldering iron, and that sounds like a great idea. So let's try that. We're heating up the weller as we speak here. We're going to heat up that, and then we're going to try pulling on it without damaging the pulley. Now you can pull here. You can even, no, you don't want to pull here. This is our 33 slot. This is our 45 slot. You can pull here, or perhaps you can get underneath and gently push up. We'll figure it out. Let's heat this puppy up and see what happens. Actually melted. My iron just touched some of the plastic there. I'm heating up the motor spindle and the pulley at the same time. Okay, let's see. Don't grab it with your fingers. Seems like it doesn't want to come out. Oh, it does it. There it goes. Heat, your friend. Okay. You might want to let this cool down a little bit now, because it's going to be blazing hot. Especially this. Oh yeah, she's good and toasty. All right, let me pause while this stuff cools down. All right, things have cooled down. We'll continue disassembling our motor. Great tip on the soldering iron trick there. It's definitely fast heat. All right, so now we can remove our top bearing. Pull out rotor, and our bottom bearing is there. I don't even need to remove anything. I just put this aside. I'll oil this up while it's in my hands like that. So you want some electric motor oil, and you want to go around here. Even in here, there's some felt material in here that will absorb the oil. Just like that. And the rotor just sits in here, right? And it spins. Just like that. See how nicely it spins? Just by doing the oil there. Keeps spinning, eh? Beautiful. Let me just put this back on like this. There. Easiest motor service ever. And the top bearing is exactly the same. There are 2 oiling marks here from the factory. Now they allow you to oil the top bearing, but they do not allow you to oil the bottom bearing. Some old turntables, they actually had tubes that took the oil to the bottom bearing. Those are, I think Duals did that. That's some serious high tech, well not high tech, but high quality. Again, oil and around here. Holy crap, that went down fast. It's just disappearing into the felt. There's no lube left here. Wow. And you can put a little drop inside. And then put it back. Okay. So I'm going to go get rid of this oil off my hands. I'll be right back. Well, that was a lovely motor to service, I have to say. I know a lot of people don't like, you know, an AC motor like this. Just continuous speed. But there's something really nice about working on a motor like this. You just know it's like built beautifully, and you know it's going to last. I mean, a lot of these motors see oil at the factory and they never see oil again, and they still run. So you really have to appreciate an AC motor. Oops. What you don't have to like is the huge magnet that sucks all your nuts. Ooh, that didn't sound good, eh? Yes, I did say that. That attracts your nuts. There's no good way to say that. Okay. We're not going to put our spindle back on, or our pulley back on, until we get back to put the belt on. So this motor will be the first time ever, that's my guesstimation, that it will run on its mounts. And it's going to run correctly. So this 50-year-old turntable has never run correctly. And now it will. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I did put that on backwards. Let's tighten our ground. Put our washers back on. Put our E-clips back on. And our motor is serviced. All right, let's do our main bearing, our spindle. There is a screw on the side that retains the spindle. Okay, don't strip the screw. Just apply even pressure. A lot of times it's got some kind of thread locker on it. So now we're gonna flip the table. And I'm gonna work backwards here. I'll zoom in a little bit more. Main spindle. Oh God. Yeah, this one's got dried grease on it. No wonder it was spinning terribly. Ball bearing too. Ball bearing. Oh, ball bearing. I want you to see this up close. So look at this. That's dried grease. It's like cake now. It's gross. Terrible idea. This is why I don't like grease and bearings. See how it tends to migrate to certain areas? So this is the main friction point at the bottom, right here. And here's the friction point for the top. And you can see the friction mark right there. Is there any grease there? No, there's no grease. That's because grease is no good in a bearing. I have no idea why someone's put tape here either. Must be a reason. Anyway, I'm going to lose this ball bearing, so I'm going to put that down. So, my recommendation, please, use oil. Use oil, okay? Because it coats, it goes around. It fills the pit, okay? And although, you know, companies like Rega will say, you know, you need to use a specific oil, and Lin and all the rest of them, just make sure you have some oil in there. I'm going to show you what I'm going to use for this one. So we're going to clean this dried grease off. We're going to clean it really good. And I'm going to show you the wear marks because there's no lubrication left. The grease has migrated and it's not doing its job anymore. Oh, there's a big hole there too at the bottom where they, see, look at that, eh? Just clean in here. That's where the ball bearing goes. So you can see the wear mark right in the middle because all the grease had migrated to the top. And you can, it's hard, I know it's hard to see on camera, but there's a wear mark right in the middle of here because there was no grease left on the, on the bottom of this axle here. And yes, this is called an axle, just so you know, okay? Okay, we'll clean our ball just in alcohol and set it aside somewhere safe. What is this? Looks like a stylus or cantilever. It's an old cantilever. All right, so what you want? Q-tip, alcohol, get in there and get all the crap out. Work the sides and the bottom. disgusting. Clean. All right, I used quite a bit of alcohol there. I want to make sure it's completely dry before we start putting our oil back in. Be right back. Okay, so we're good and dry. We're actually going to put, I'm going to use gear oil, okay, automotive gear oil. I like to use a thicker bearing oil when the original was a grease from the factory. So, a few drops, some along the side. And then we're going to put a little bit on here and here. And we're going to put a schlob right here. And we're going to put our ball in. So our ball will stick. Just like that. And then we're going to reinsert it into the pit. And it will take its time going down. This is a thick oil. But what's happening is the air is going to escape the bearing, and it'll also escape through that screw hole that keeps the spindle from popping out. So it'll take its time. Go have a coffee, whatever. Another way to get it down faster is to grab your platter and just put it on top. And that just helps it. Where are you? That helps it come down as well. And then once it's down, it's going to spin beautifully. I find that this gear oil, that's what Rega uses, I find it very quiet. And see, it's already down. I find it quiet and I really like it. I'm really starting. I used to use a 30 weight quite a bit, a non-detergent 30 weight, but this stuff, I'm really liking it a lot, even on vintage Japanese turntables now. So it's kind of my choice now, unless it's an electric motor. Like this is not an electric motor here. This is just a bearing. But yeah, I'm really liking it. And boy, it's a spin nice. Beautifully. Quiet, just lovely stuff. Okay. So I'm going to put the screw back in on the bottom. And then we'll start we'll turn the turntable around, and then we'll start servicing some of the points up top. All right, we're back up top. Just a couple things up here. This is the cut arm. That's how it works. It basically moves this into position so the auto return cam can run. I'm going to put a drop of oil there. Throw my oiling can across the room. And now we can put our motor spindle kind of back. And what I mean by kind of back is we're just going to put it into position because we are still going to just clean off that. We've got to check our belt height, right? So what you do is put it into 33, and boy, this thing's sticky. Really does not want to go back on. Hang on, I'm going to clean this in this just to make sure we're getting back on there. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. It really does not want to go back on. I mean, it does want to go back in, but I don't want to force it. I want to make sure that it goes on nicely. You saw what a hard time I had taking it off. So what I do is I just going to move the arm over. I plugged the turntable back in. I'm just going to run a little bit of like 1000 grit here against it just to polish it up. Just like that. It's going to run up and down that spindle to get it nice and polished and clean. And I'll keep doing that, and then I'll keep testing to see how we're going on. It's smoother, but now I haven't gone down far enough. Look how tight that is, eh? That's not good. And the screw's out, by the way, just so you know. It does not want to go on, and I do not want to lubricate it just yet. So I'm going to just keep working at this a little bit, and then I shall return. Okay, I have been gently sanding, and now you can see it's on much nicer. Still a little tight, but nowhere like it was. So now what you want to do is you want to set the top of that pulley roughly with the top of the speed changer arm, so that the belt runs in the middle. And this is set for 33. When you flip it down to 45, you want to make sure the middle of this arm is roughly in the center of each speed on that pulley. Okay, so that's what you want to do there. And next we are going to do, we're going to put that screw back. I just want to show you, I'll do that in a minute, our next state of maintenance here, and that is cleaning that pulley. So what you're doing here is you're going to turn your motor on. Listen, it's making no noise now. It's deadly silent because it's never, see how the screws are out here? It's never sat on its true motor mounts, rubber mounts. So what we're doing here is we're just cleaning the 33 and the 45 slots on the pulley to make sure they're free of grease and oil and belt goo or whatever else is residing here. Look at that. That's what came off of it. If your pulley is really filthy, you can use the lightest amount, like a really light grade of sandpaper. Do not sand this down too much, or you'll change the speed of the turntable. Okay, that's clean. I'm going to put that screw back on, and then we'll clean the belt and the platter, and we'll do a sound test. Okay, we're going to give our belt a cleaning. Just a little bit of oil, or oil. No, not oil. A little bit of alcohol on a paper towel. Just run that through. You just want to remove all the greases and oils on the belt. You can tell when it's squeaky clean. Okay, don't be too concerned about that. You're probably just removing a little bit of rubber at the same time. And now, another place where it needs to be cleaned is the platter. The inner platter here, where the belt rides, is another place where things get kind of greasy and oily and gross, especially if a belt has died on here. So give that a cleaning. I don't know what that crap is. I think it's tape. Remember we saw tape originally on the platter mat on the bottom side of it? Okay, look at that. Okay, I think we're good here. I think we can put our belt back on. Now this belt's a little loose, but I think it's going to work fine. Just hold it like that. Put your platter back on the spindle if you can find it. And you're going to wrap it around a 33 pulley here. And we're just going to run the table and see, make sure there's no friction. What I mean by friction is that the belt is not hitting the arm changer arm. The arm changer arm, the speed changer arm. And it's not. It's running right in the middle. So perfecto. Okay. Now, remember how this arm was dropping before? Check this out. Look at that deliciousness. It'll be a little faster once we get the toner or the cartridge back on there. Okay, head shell. So, all right. I think we're good for a sound test, believe it or not. So this table required quite a bit of servicing. It was quite the challenge, I'm going to say. There were some definite stuff to take care of on this one. But it went well. I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. That's a brand new needle. I'm just going to give it a dry brush. We'll set this up. And we'll do this one manually because I still get a lot of questions about how you set up an arm. And I'm going to do it with the table running. For you guys who are new to this, unplug your turntable, okay? So what you want to do is you want to make sure your cueing's down. And we're going to balance up the arm. So you want the arm perfectly floating in midair, so to speak, which is right about there. Okay. Then return it to its rest. Set the outer trim ring here with the numbers on it to 0 while holding the counterbalance. And now you're going to turn it. I'll just turn this to 2 grams for now. I don't know what the setting is on this cartridge. It won't kill anything. And then we've got an anti-skating weight here. So that's probably 1, 1.5. No, maybe 0.5, 1, 1.5. I'm not sure. I'm just going to set it in the center for now. I'll have to check the manual. I don't know exactly what it is. I'll just swing that over. Okay, we'll hook up our audio cables. And before we do that, it's always interesting to see what kind of speed an AC turntable is holding. Here we go. It is a smidge fast. Let's say it's running 34 maybe. It probably has to do with that belt. It's way too loose. So I'm probably going to end up asking the owner if he wants me to put a belt on this thing. I don't even know if do I have a belt? Let's see here. That one is a no. I do have some belts in stock. I think these are 23.6s. It says it's for techniques, but a lot of the Japanese turntables use the same belt. Ooh, this one might be a little too wide, actually. Let's just see. Yeah, this belt's very loosey-goosey, but this one might be too tight and too thick, I'm thinking. This might be good. The only thing I'm concerned, why can't I not get this thing back on? The only thing I'm concerned about is the width of it. It looks too wide. Yeah, I guess we'll find out in a second. See how the speed's dead on now? let's do an auto return. This is way too high, by the way. Gotta lower that. It's actually running well, and the speed's dead on. So I guess I'm gonna leave this belt on here for the gentleman. All right, let's do sound test. Shall we adjust this height too while we're on it? Yes, let's. Okay, so we're going to adjust the height of the tone arm. It is way too high. It's about an inch off the record. There's a screw on the side here. Be very careful when you're doing this. You can drop your stylus onto the record, so you don't want to do that. So hold it tight. We're just going to loosen this. We're going to lower this to a more reasonable height, which is right about there. Just tighten that screw back up. That is much better. Let's see our cueing. Oh, man, that's nice. Ooh, that's loud. Beautiful. Oh yeah, that's working awesome. Okay, just testing the auto return here. All right, good. So everything is working wonderfully now. Let's just test the sure reject works. Yeah, reject works as well. If auto return works, then usually reject's going to work. There you go. Marantz model 6110. Total service on this one. Lots of interesting points, including replacing the damping fluid on the tone arm cueing, belt change for proper speed, complete motor service, C spindle on the well, actually a C pulley on the spindle of the motor, and sanding that down to getting it down to the correct diameter so we get better movement on that pulley if you need to move it at all. Total service, and turntable's working great. So that's it for the Marantz, and we will now go into a Thorens because the belt still hasn't come in for that thing. So Thorens next week, and thanks for watching again, and we'll catch you in the next one.